Today we are going to be speaking with Mr. Shawn Mahler. Shawn talks about his involvement with the Nagoya Players as the director, his book Chizawa Bay, and an upcoming book he's also releasing, and his involvement with the Hope International documentary. Shawn also talks about some things to think about before moving to Japan. And before we begin, I want to give a quick shout out to our buddy Dave Olaf. We lost him a couple years ago. Dave was a big part of the Nagoya community and also Nagoya Players. He's a legend in the area, and he's very missed. We love you, Dave. Hello.
Yeah, hi, Ron.
This is Shawn. Thank you for joining me today, Shawn. Shawn's been in Japan for a long time and have done a lot of really cool things, and I want to talk to him about those things. So thank you for taking time out of your day and joining me.
Yeah, it's no problem.
So why don't you just tell us, where you're from and kind of what brought you originally to Japan? Like, what were you doing in America before you moved here, and what brought you here?
Okay, well, I've been in Japan quite a long time. It's probably been about 20 years.
Yeah.
Originally, I'm from Los Angeles, California. So, born there, grew up there. I was working in Hollywood before I moved to Japan. So, I studied film production and media theory in university. So yeah, my background's always been in like filmmaking and theater and stuff like that. So I came to Japan hoping to do that as well.
Yeah, which you have, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're a documentary and a short filmmaker. You've spent some time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
In movies and TV production.
Yep,
Is that right?
that's right.
You're directing and producing plays here locally.
That's right.
And you're also an author of a book.
Yes, all of that's true.
Yeah, so I kind of want to get into all that. So I read that you had some influence with a Japanese, was it a producer that kind of got you interested in first coming to Japan?
Well, my inspiration is he's a very big influence on me as an artist. His name is Imamura Shohei, and I first encountered his work while I was in university, and I saw his movie in a theater. I saw one of his movies in a theater, and it blew my mind. And I said, wow, I got to meet this guy. So I finished up my university degree, and then maybe a year or two after that, I got my ticket to Japan and I sought him out. So I got a chance to meet him and kind of pick his brain a bit. But unfortunately, my Japanese wasn't so great at the time and I couldn't communicate well. But it was a very valuable experience. And I've learned a lot from his work, and his work still influences me. But yeah, he was my motivation for coming.
Okay, what about his work specifically was kind of awe-inspiring or motivational for you?
So the best way to describe him is he's kind of an underground artist. Some of the translations of his interviews will describe it as he focuses on the soft underbelly of society.
Okay.
So all those untold stories, all those seedy stories, voices that you don't often hear from or you don't want to hear from, that's the focus of a lot of his movies. And as an artist, that's what interests me as well. I have made work in every genre. I've worked on every kind of story, but the things that excite me the most are the voices that don't get heard or the voices that we try to diminish. I want those stories to come back out.
Okay, which maybe is connected to Chizawa Bay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Chizawa Bay is my first novel. I published it maybe 3 years ago, 3 years ago maybe. But yeah, Chizawa Bay is a slice of life. It's based on a seaside village in Japan. It's all fiction, but based on real people and real encounters. If you want to kind of read a story about the underbelly of Japan, it's a very entertaining book. So I do recommend it. It's not for everyone. It's not, yeah, there's some there's some characters in there. So yeah,
There
but
were,
please read.
there were some warnings I saw. Actually, I just ordered the book today on
Oh,
Amazon.
okay.
So
What warning did you see?
it says, sexually explicit and maybe like drug use and
Oh.
kind of something about not, made for children. Something. I bought it on Amazon. It's available on Amazon. I bought the paperback book,
Okay.
so it's on its way.
It's not that raunchy, but there are references. There's references to drugs. There's references to sex, but not explicit. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean, Amazon kind of goes overboard sometimes.
Sure. And where were you You said it's based on your experiences. Where were you living where you kind of got that inspiration from?
Well, I've spent the majority of my time in Japan in Nagoya, but Honda City, it's not so far from here. So like in my early Japan days, I would go down to the seaside quite a bit and just spend days out on the seaside and kind of learn. It's kind of like the land time forgot. It's very rustic. It's very old school and like it's romantic. So that's where I wanted to set the story. And the people in that area still kind of live that old way and they still have that old thinking. Some of it's very enlightening. Some of it's, we don't do it that way anymore. But that's Japan a lot of the time for me. It's a mix of the old and the modern. But I find it fascinating.
It sounds like a little bit like maybe Cannery Row. Do you know that book? Who's
so
the author?
Steinbeck.
Yeah, Steinbeck.
And I won't deny Cannery Row is one of my favorite books of all time.
I read it within the last year or two. Great book.
Yes.
I love that book.
You'll find a lot of allusions to Cannery Row in Chizawa Bay. So
Okay.
if you like Steinbeck, you'll probably like Chizawa Bay.
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to reading it for sure.
Yeah.
That book literally had me laughing out loud.
Oh, okay.
It's a great book.
You'll probably enjoy what I wrote, but yeah, let me know what you think.
Great, yeah. I'm looking forward to reading it, and you can buy it on Amazon. It's also available on Kindle as well.
Yep, Kindle, Amazon. I think that's where I put it right now. Yeah,
Okay.
But yep, there'll be more coming. So.
Okay, you're working on some other books at the moment?
Yeah, I've got a big book project underway. It's behind schedule. But the plan was to finish it this year. Doubtful, but hopefully next year I can get it out.
Okay.
And that one is it's a dark fantasy, very grim, definitely explicit, definitely not safe for work.
Based in Japan?
No, this one is more about history. I'm a big history buff.
Okay.
And I've got a lot on my mind about American history and how we started as a country and kind of the things we've never fixed. So I don't want to give too much away, but that's kind of the direction I'm going with the book.
Okay. And I won't ask you when it's supposed to come out. But yeah, looking forward to that. And we could also find that on Amazon.
Yeah, when it's ready, I'm going to do a big launch and you'll know about it.
Great. Looking forward to it. There's nothing I love more than having the book from the author who is also my friend. And I'll have you sign it at some point for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be a big one. So
yeah, okay, cool. Looking forward to it. Great. Okay. So you're also much involved with Nagoya Players.
Yes.
I just recently went and watched your guys' Romeo and Juliet. It was great. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to ask you what you thought about the show.
It was great. Some of the plays are. What was the one in near Nagoya Station? A little theater. I believe that was Nagoya Players as well. That was good, but it was hard to follow, right? There was like a lot going on, especially my wife, Japanese. It's hard for her to follow those kind of things. The Romeo and Juliet, of course, it's been done by a lot of people, a lot of different ways and different times. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun, so well done.
Oh, thank you.
And always looking forward to your guys' next production. I know it takes a lot of time and effort. Tell us a little bit about Nagoya Players and your involvement with them.
Well, Nagoya Players is a very old group. The group began in 1975,
Okay.
so I wasn't around, but um, I've been fortunate enough to meet some of the founding members, and a lot of those people, they're not around anymore. But I was able to meet a few of them and kind of get their story and why the group started in the early days and that kind of thing. Um, I joined Nagoya Players probably around 2014, and I joined a show, 12 Angry Men.
Okay.
Yeah.
Classic.
So, yeah. Did you see that one?
I did not see that one.
Okay.
When did you guys put that out?
That was, I think, 2014.
Okay,
Yeah.
I maybe had just moved here. I think I moved here around 2013, 14. Yeah, I would love to have seen that. It's a classic,
Yeah.
classic
So,
play.
of course, we had to kind of adapt it a bit because we were in a very small space. So it was hard to fit 12 people on the stage. But that went over very well. So that's when I started with the group. But like you just mentioned, theater is very, very hard to make, especially nowadays, especially amateur community theater. Everything from resources to time to money to interest, like everything's an uphill battle. However, I think it's important that a group like Nagoya Players continues to exist and survive, because I'm not young anymore. I'm in my 40s now. But when I was coming up, when I was in my 20s in Los Angeles, I wouldn't have pursued art unless there were opportunities. I was given a lot of opportunity in LA. There were movie shoots every weekend. There were theater shows every weekend. There's live performance going on all the time. So you can easily join something and learn the craft. But when I arrived in Nagoya, there was none of that. And that really bothered me. So when I started working with the Nagoya Players, like, for me, there's a lot of value in providing a space where artists, young or old, can come and develop their craft. And kind of my main motivation to keep it going, because it's a ton of work, but like, yeah, I just want to keep that space alive.
So you're the driving force kind of behind it. I mean, I know it takes a village to make a play, but
yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna take all the credit.
Sure.
I mean, I do my part, but it's a group, and everyone that's been involved in production, been in a show, helped out behind the scenes. Yeah, I'm just kind of more like organizing it and making sure all the pieces work together.
And I think I read a write-up of the original founding member. I can't remember his name. You guys had it in the pamphlet.
Michael Horn.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And that was kind of why he started it, right? To give, especially being in Japan, give people a stage and a platform to not only be able to be involved, but to actually connect with the Japanese community. Because there are, of course, a lot of foreigners were there, but I also saw Japanese people who don't really speak a lot of English, but you guys put in the time and effort to translate everything and put it up on the screen, which must take so much time.
Yeah, it does.
And the timing, and and thank you guys for that.
Yeah, I mean, when the shows are good and the audience enjoys it, and we know we're reaching people and touching people, that's the reward for me, right? Like, we've made something good, we've made something entertaining, and it's art, and people enjoyed it. If we check those boxes, then I think we've done a great job.
Yeah, and I think you did, especially this last one. There was some stomp influences in some of the dancing, which it was great. It wasn't like cheesy or anything like that. It really fit well with the play, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah. So whenever you're adding those kind of elements, you're always worried, because we rehearsed that show for a very long time, maybe about 9 months total of rehearsal.
Wow, yeah.
Which is unusual. But when you're adding these new elements, you're like, oh, I hope people like this. But you don't know until it's on stage.
Yeah, no, it went really well.
Yeah.
So well done. Looking forward to your guys' next play. Is there anything in
Um,
development right now?
well, that's where everyone's upset with me because I haven't announced the next show. I've said there will be a show in 2025, but I haven't made it official yet. Um, there will be a show. Um, what I'm leaning towards right now, I'm leaning towards something maybe a bit avant-garde, maybe a bit more adult. So, yeah, that's where I'm leaning, but we'll see what happens.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm sure we'll hear about it. That they pop up on social media, and it's
Yeah.
always in the mix. So great. Also, something that you have done in the past that I was really impressed with, and to be honest, maybe I didn't know it until recently doing some research, but your work with Hope International.
Yes.
You did a documentary with them, and can you tell us about that?
Geez, I'm old. I can't remember when I did all these things. 20, I don't know, 2015, 2016 maybe?
Yeah, 15 probably. I think I read.
So Hope does projects around the world, working with the world's impoverished. So one of their main projects is water wells. So they'll visit communities that don't have access to clean water, or their water source isn't safe. So they'll go there, they'll install the water system, the pumps, and teach the people how to use it and maintain it. And it's a really good project because not only does it improve health, but it becomes kind of a source of income for them. So they can start growing products like produce with it, and raising farm animals, and selling the meat from that. So it has a big knock-on effect. The project I did was in the Philippines at a school called Pamalan. And Pamalan is a school built for the indigenous peoples of, I think, the Philippines by and large, but specifically Mindanao. So Mindanao is in the south. I'm not an expert on the situation, but like most indigenous people around the world, they've been marginalized, and they've just been kind of pushed to the edge of society. So this school was built to kind of bring them back in, give them the education and skills they need to enter, mainstream society and take their place. So that's the documentary I did. It's online. I think it's on the Hope website. It's a beautiful project, and I believe a lot in education. I think education, if you wanna fix a lot of what's wrong with the world, it's about education.
And it's called The Greatest Gift.
Yeah, that was the name of that video. Yeah.
Yeah, I just watched it today, and it's great. It's really impactful, and it kind of like you're saying, the stories and the people, the individuals that kind of get lost, right? It highlights them and one family in particular. And there was a girl talking about being an older sister, and she couldn't have been.
Did you cry?
14. I was. Yeah, I'll tell you what. I mean, it's it is an emotional thing, and you could just tell that they're good people and they want a good life for them and their family. And this older sister, who's, I don't know how old she was, maybe 14.
They look that young, but they're a little bit older.
Older, yeah. Okay. But she was a young girl who was, really worried about her sister and her family.
Yeah.
And how can we help our family? How can we help my father, who's struggling to make ends meet? And they need education. Education is the answer.
So I remember visiting their house, and just getting a glimpse of how they live and work, and what they earn. And it's that they work so hard and they get so little back, right? And it's a great sacrifice to send their children to school. And that's what Pamalan is trying to give those people that normally wouldn't have the opportunity to get an education, give them that education. So it's a big deal. It's a big deal for those families that their children will get university degrees and go on to get good work, so they don't have to work on the farm all day and earn nothing.
Yeah, I've traveled in the Philippines and Vietnam and Thailand, and not just the main tourist areas. They're a small town, and when you get out there, it's I think, oh, my life's kind of hard, and I can complain about this, and when I was a kid, this happened, but there's really no reason to complain about anything when you see the real life people are living, and a lot of those people they're still happy. They're
It's funny you mentioned that, because that was my big takeaway from that trip. And I've been to the Philippines a couple more times, but I've never met happier people in my life. Like, a lot of them don't have much, but they do have each other. The family bonds are incredible, and they're so happy. That's just me from the outside looking in, but I can't say the same for, like, folks in LA, right?
Sure.
There's a lot of miserable people in LA.
Sure.
But when I visit the Philippines, it's overwhelming how friendly and warm and caring they are, even to a visitor, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and especially, specifically the Philippines, right? I have a lot of friends who are from the Philippines that are here, and they moved here for whatever reason. Some, Rod, the guy I did the interview with, he has family roots here, right? But a lot of those people are moving to another country to try to make money to send back to their family, right? It's this very nuclear kind of family, and they all look after each other and take care of. And a lot of American families, it's just a bit of a different culture, right?
yeah, I mean, we can get on America and everything that's gone sideways, but we're in Japan now.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, and I guess that's probably why we've stayed here. If there's, if somebody wants to get involved or do something to help, an organization like Hope International, what can they do?
My suggestion would be, Hope's got a website. If you write to them or contact them, they're always in need for volunteers. One of the fun things to do, they have an annual gala, and I think they do it in 3 cities every year: Tokyo, Kansai, and Nagoya. So it's a charity dinner. So if you want to have a nice time, donate some money, and meet the people that are involved in the projects, that's a great way to kind of, introduce yourself and get involved. Or you can just volunteer on the projects.
And is there a chance to actually go to different countries
Oh.
and get hands-on and help volunteer your time? Or?
Yeah, I mean, once you put in enough time and you learn what the mission is and what the projects are, and you have to build up to that.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, if you put in the work, I know quite a few people that have gone overseas and done the projects with them.
Okay, great. Yeah, well, I'll look into it, and I would love to attend. Do you attend when they come into Nagoya, the gala?
Yeah, but because of the pandemic, everything kind of went haywire for a bit. So I think I missed the gala event this year, but I'll probably try to go next time.
Okay, cool. You've also helped me with projects.
Okay.
I know, you are a professional, and that's why I really appreciate people like you, and just being able to get to know you better through interviews like this for me to be able to do research. But yeah, you've helped me with a couple videos here locally. We did the most interesting teacher in Nagoya.
Yes. Yeah, that was for a school you were working at,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, it was fun little comedy thing.
But it's fun. So you're always in the mix.
Yeah, I mean, the video stuff I don't do as frequently because the tech is getting, like, the tech I learned using back when I was in university is all obsolete now. So I keep up, but like it's a young man's game, young woman's game, right? So I still like doing it, but there's a lot of young people that are sharp with it and they know what they're doing.
Sure.
But yeah, video is fun. So yeah, from time to time I'll do a video project.
Sure, locally with local businesses here. any advice for somebody who's wanting to move to Japan, or any insight to kind of your
Well,
perspective of what it's been like to live here?
it's 2024, and if we're talking about moving to Japan right now, um, I wouldn't advise it.
Why is that?
I've actually had this conversation with a couple of people already that, my friends and family back in the States, they have people that want to come to Japan, and they say, oh, talk to Shawn first, see what it's like. So I've had this conversation a couple times this year, and the number one consideration is the finances, right? Japan's in a rough spot right now. Um, Coming from America, you're going to lose a ton of money, right? So
Yeah, that's the balance. It's how much money can you make compared to Japan, but also what is the cost of living?
Yeah.
Right. So I'm helping people get apartments and move here, and they are wanting to live here long term because, and maybe a lot of these people have money in the bank. Some U.S. dollars that goes a long ways here now, but the cost of living is so much lower here, but also, your ability to make money is a bit difficult.
Well, all those kind of formulas are kind of out the window now because cost of living is rising in Japan. Inflation's suddenly happened.
Because it hasn't for the last 30 years.
Salaries are still kind of suppressed and frozen. So 2024 is a rough time financially.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a stagnant economy since the 80s, really, right? It's just really just kind of flatlined, and you can see it in the stock market, right? The Japanese stock market.
It's been on the downtrend since the 80s, but like the pandemic kind of like unveiled all the ugliness of what's been bubbling underneath, right?
Sure.
So, and now the pandemic's not there anymore, and now we're in this bad economy. But so aside from money, Japan's great. However, if you're coming here, you do need a different mindset. I gave this advice to everyone I've talked to, and I said, look, when I came with an American mindset, and it doesn't work, right?
So what do you mean exactly?
Well, the easiest example are things like group dynamics, where I'm sure you've had this experience. You see something being done, paperwork or like cleaning or any mundane thing, and you say, well, there's a faster way to do that. There's a simpler way to do that, right? Let me show you how to do it. And you'll get pushed back, you'll get rejected. And you're like, but your way is old, your way is not, there's a better way. And like a Japanese person will often say, nope, this is the way we do it. This is the way we've always done it. This is the way it must be done. And it takes a little bit of time for you to click into why they keep that way. Yes, it may be inefficient, but it's the way that everyone understands, or it's the way that everyone prefers to do it. So that kind of individualism, that kind of, take charge approach doesn't really fly here. And myself and others, we've run into that problem. People that stay here a long time make the change, right? They change their mindset and start thinking more in the Japanese way. People that don't last long, they don't make that change usually, right?
Yeah, there are a lot of societal differences, of course. I mean, one of the big ones when I moved here is not a lot of people say hello, right?
Yeah.
As an American, I love saying hello to people, random strangers all the time. What's up? How's it going? And that's what I've heard a lot of struggles with people who have recently moved here. It's like, nobody talks to me. And I'm like, it's not because you're a foreigner. That's just the kind of the Japanese society. They're very polite, but very private as well, right?
Yeah. So mindset is a big thing. Like if you're going to come here, I do recommend, of course, learning the language and learning the ways. One of my biggest early mistakes was thinking, oh, Japan is just like America. We do everything the same. We have the same stuff, right? But it's not. It's completely different culture, completely different way of thinking, very different view of the world. And if you want to be here, you should learn it.
Sure. Yeah, and when I moved here, it wasn't because, oh, I'm interested in, I mean, I was interested in Japanese culture and society, of course, but I just wanted to live somewhere completely different than America, right? And then now it's been 11 years I've stayed, and yeah, maybe I came in with a different mindset. I was pretty open and just kind of just tried to blend, you know. But it's been a great 11 years, and I don't think I'm moving
Yeah.
anywhere.
No, there's I think most people go through a love-hate cycle with
Yeah,
Japan.
absolutely. Yeah.
You love it, then you hate it. And if you can get past that initial hate stage, then you'll love it forever, right?
That's exact. I hit my like 5 year mark where I was at the bottom, and I announced at a show once, I'm leaving. I'm leaving. I'm going back to America, and everybody in the band's like, what? Are you serious? And I talked to a couple friends, and they said the exact same thing. They're like, everybody hits that stage usually around the 4 or 5 year mark. That was right when I hit it, and same advice. If you can get past that, you'll be completely fine. And I did. I got past it and have completely acclimated, and I'm fine in Japan.
Yeah, and that's the secret kind of secret sauce, magic trick to it. Like it's patience
Perseverance.
and perseverance and understanding. Maybe just I wrote a book based in Japan. The characters in the story are based in Japan, and Japan's influenced me quite a lot. And probably Japan has done a lot of good for my, I guess I'll say, mental health, right? Like it's calmed me down. It's made me think more clearly, more carefully. Japan can have a very calming, positive influence on you, but it does take time.
Yeah, there can be a lot of frustration, getting kind of used to the culture. Like, why is it like this? Why is it like this? Well, it's Japan. So if you can get past that, I guess.
No, actually, now that you say it, yeah, Japan can also just break you down.
And I think that's true living in any foreign country, right? I mean, Japan's the only country besides America that I've lived in, but I would guess that would be true for anywhere you live. There's going to be cultural differences that are going to be heavy on you, and it's going to take some time to get used to. Japan is especially, and that's what makes it an amazing country, right? It is an island country. It's never been, conquered by any other place, and it's been able to keep that culture, right? And that's what makes it very interesting. Other countries have been influenced and conquered and mixed a little bit more. So, the good and the bad of everything.
So, I mean, I understand the fascination with Japan. It's unique in so many ways. And if you want to come and try it and see what it's like, by all means. But there's practical considerations, money being the first one. So, make sure you have enough.
Well, or just cannonball in and figure it out like I did.
Well, I don't know how well that works nowadays.
Yeah, it's different. I mean, teachers' wages are basically the same they've been since the 80s, right? And prices have definitely gone up on things. Not like America, but 30% in the last 10 years for sure.
I mean, this is kind of more like kind of inside baseball, but like when we arrived, conditions were much better, right? Like jobs were easier to get as a newcomer. Money was decent, but I think all of that's done now. I don't think people arriving now are finding it really hard.
Yeah. I would agree with that. A lot of the younger people, they're, you don't, and I don't go out much anymore, but everything's more expensive, and it's more expensive to go out, and you can't afford it, right? So you stay at home because you got to pay your rent.
So I mean, I've met, through all this stuff I do, I've met some new arrivals that, you invite them out, let's go have lunch, let's go have dinner. Like, nah, I can't afford it. I can't do anything. Everything I make, I need to pay bills. And I was like, oh wow, really? And I mean, I'm in a good place right now in terms of, how I make money, but I mean, that's what's very different. Like, I didn't have much when I arrived, but I could still go out, but yeah, this new group it looks like they're really tight.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree. So, Japan's a great country. Move here.
I'm not trying to,
If
I'm
you're
not trying to dissuade you. Just trying to tell you the truth.
yeah, it's definitely things to consider, and finances is the big part of that,
Yeah.
right? Being able to enjoy your life and be comfortable. So, great. All right, I think I covered everything that I wanted to cover. Do you have anything else that you're working on, or a project you did in the past?
Well, the next big thing is the book. That's the biggest thing on my plate. I want to finish that book. It's very important to me. But I need more time. The trouble is I keep getting pulled in different directions with other projects, and you're just trying to juggle everything. But yeah, I'll finish the book. Next year we'll do another Nagoya Players show. Please come to that.
I will.
I think you'll really get a kick out of what I would like to do, but I got to talk to the group.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just grinding. Just keep making books and movies and plays, and just keep grinding.
Staying creative.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whenever I see you in the office over there, you're always behind the computer.
Well, this is all
Doing
day.
something,
All
yeah.
day. Yeah.
Great. All right, Shawn. Well, thank you so much for joining me. It's a pleasure to
Thanks,
know
Ron.
you.
Yep. Yeah. Anytime. If you want me to say nicer things about Japan, let me know.
Well, no, I want you to be honest, and that's exactly what you're doing. So
No, Japan is great. Come visit. Come try it out. You'll learn a lot. It'll change you. It changed me, and I'm a much better person for having lived here.
I want to know you before you came here.
No,
I'm
you
very
don't. No, you don't.
interested. Because to me, you're one of those like still waters run deep kind of guy,
I've seen some shit.
Yeah, yeah, and
LA life is very different from Japan life.
sure. And perhaps in the future, I was thinking just a couple weeks ago, I'm like, I want to do a short film just for fun, and it'd be fun.
Yeah, you got a story, let's get a script, and yeah, you can shoot.
Great. All right. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for joining. Again, we're here in Nagoya. Think about what he said. If you're thinking about moving to Japan, do your research. Reddit, I'm sure, has a lot of opinions. So.
Oh, yeah, don't go there.
All right. Thank you, Shawn. Thank you guys so much.
All
We'll
right.
see you next time.
Thank you, everyone.